I made $2,000 this week trading my best setups, which is all taught in Futures 2.0 on ASFX TV, because I think if you didn't make money on this Friday, you need to reassess what your plan is, what your strategy is, because I honestly think there's no excuse not to have made money on this day, because I honestly don't know if it even gave a losing signal. It was nothing but clear trend, clear direction, all for key levels, and really the days that we're trying to maximize gains. It was the easiest day to make money, and they don't come all the time, so when they do present, we have to make sure to maximize our profits the best we can, not be left on the sidelines, not using our risk properly, and maximize these days, like I said. So let's get into the video, look at some of the setups, and I'll remind you guys, all these trades that I'm taking to get this $2,000 week, up about 4K on the month, it's all with Tradeify. And actually, if you use code Dyer, you'll get 30% off any of their Tradeify accounts, and it'll match whatever sale they are running, but right now it's 30%. So definitely don't buy at full price. Use my code Dyer, you'll get the best deal that they're offering. But let's take a look at some of the setups on the Friday. The first one being a short on NQ. Seems to be the common theme this week of bouncing back and forth between both assets. I just really like the way this was holding up. We could look at ES first, I guess, because that might make a little bit more sense here. Definitely both bearish here at the open. We have nice holds of New York VWAP. This one still hasn't broken out of the opening range. The one potential problem with this specific price of selling it, you're right at that blue VWAP, which you know is yesterday's New York. So I don't really want to be selling it into that potential support. But then we get this crack lower outside its opening range low. So now it's too late for me to want to sell it down there on ES because it's making a new low a day. I don't like selling the lowest price possible. It's the first break outside open range low. Those often don't run. Clearly today it did. But then also, okay, I missed the train there. But on NQ, it still looks like it was rejecting off the New York view up, not giving me as low of a price that I could then get in with a good price, good stop loss above structure, and still ride it down on the break of open range low. So you can see here I'm actually trading into yesterday's New York VWAP, but with the information I was just seeing on ES of it breaking already through its yesterday's New York, I figured NQ would have no problem then getting below it with strength because ES is already below it. So what's going to stop that from falling? So I take this short. I got a pretty good fill, definitely not the best fill in this wick. I didn't catch it at the bottom. I think I closed it about mid-wick just because of the volatility and the speed. But nonetheless, I got about 1R out of it, so not a bad trade at all. Of course, it does rip further throughout the rest of the session. I'm not concerned about trying to catch that, but I definitely maybe could have gotten a better fill with that solid bar that turned into a wick. But I think just, like I said, it's the bounce play followed by a break play. I don't have it on this markup, but there's a lower day view up there being broken as well. So it's a bounce play, lower day view up, break play, but definitely taught in Futures 2.0 on ASFX TV. Like I said before, if you haven't seen it and you don't have a strategy that didn't make you money on Friday, please, please, please go watch it because I honestly think there's no excuse not to make money on this day. We'll go through all the markups. Futures 101 is going to help, but this Futures 2.0 is what I'm saying is my strategy of the VWAP breaks and the VWAP bounces. And if you've seen this course, there's also no excuse to have not made money on this day because you know the setups that present and that I teach in here did present on this clean Friday. Now this one is not in the course. This one's not taught. I would not recommend this trade. This was just gut and feel. Definitely could have burnt me. Clear lower highs and lower lows, clear direction to the sell side. So why am I buying it? Again, it was just feel and experience of, if you look at the left side, the 15-minute chart, what is that, 6, 7 candles down, straight down, which we don't normally get, even probably 6 or 7 or 8. So I was just saying this is too overextended to want to be selling it down here. I figure we're probably going to get a pullback at some point. This isn't just going to keep on ripping and ripping. But again, of course it could have. It was just kind of a gamble. I don't think it's going to. I think it's probably out of gas for the time being. I wasn't saying that buyers are going to step in on the day, that maybe we just stop making new lows so aggressively. And it worked out because I was able to scalp it back up. So the equivalent to that, you see how it breaks the lower day view up? I'm not interested in that because I don't think this definitely wants to just keep falling and falling and falling. So rather than jumping into that short, it's almost like I'm saying, nope, this is going to reject the lower day view up and paint us that pullback. So I got a nice little long on that one to match the short I had earlier. So now I actually have 2 trades on the day, and then I was done. But there was beautiful setups. There's even this one on ES, like we said. This one right after, if you missed the one on ES on that break lower, like we were saying, because I don't love selling it at the lowest price. You get a new low, small little pullback, break of lower day view up. You definitely could take this signal, especially on these days that are super volatile. The 15 minutes is dropping like a knife. There's not always that strength of buyers to give a healthy pullback like I'm wanting. Of course, I'm still looking for it, but there's some days where they're not going to give you that pullback that I'm wanting because there's just too many sellers. It doesn't care about giving me what I want. Now, the cool thing about this one is notice how sellers defend this lower day view up. So they're retesting underneath the entire time, telling you they're still in. and it eventually still falls. The one thing I don't love about this, and again, you could have put the stop loss higher, of the New York VWAP, opening range low, and yesterday's New York VWAP. I'd want a stop loss above that, but this pullback doesn't really give me a great price and risk reward for that. So I would have liked to seen it pull back further towards those VWAPs, so that way I could see structure around there. But nonetheless, when there's enough sellers like this, it's just going to keep cutting through lower days and keep sinking. And then this is the beautiful one. After that big drop, after I took that long, here's the healthy pullback that I teach in Futures 2.0 of saying I'm not interested in these small breaks, because could it run? Yes. But how many times do they run and run until that bigger pullback comes in, like this one? So rather than chasing it short like this because, oh, it's been falling, so certainly this one's going to keep falling. Nope. Sellers have had enough. We're going to take a break now. Buyers are going to step in for a little bit, and then sellers step back in. So I want to see that fuller retest towards the key VWAP, in this case the New York one, and then we get our first break of lower day VWAP with some pretty good strength. You could even argue over here on this lower day break, why not take this one? Again, it kind of just comes down to pickiness. That's not really a great pullback. It's the best one we've had today, but it's really not the best one close to a key VWAP of New York up here. So again, I'd like to see a bigger pullback. Give me a better price towards these VWAPs because it's been straight sellers. Can we take a break here and see some bullish bars on the 15-minute? And we did get 2 or 3 of them, and then sellers step back in. Now this one, we had some conversations in the Blackshirt Club and great questions of, I was waiting for it to fully retest the New York VWAP, which is correct and it's true. That's what I want as well. I think if you're not taking this because of that reasoning, it might be a little bit too picky. Of everything else is telling you to sell it. This is the healthy pullback. It took about an hour, 10:45 to 11:47, an hour pullback. I don't know the point value, maybe 10, 12 points. It's a nice pullback. It's close enough to New York and a nice break of lower day VWAP. With all the clear sentiment and direction today, sellers are stepping back in. So the train might be ready to go again to the downside. And worst comes to worst, if you don't want it because it didn't touch New York VWAP yet, you could always put a stop loss above. Now, I would agree. If it did already not break the lower day VWAP here, and we could have just kept pulling up all the way to there, I would have loved it. But since it is breaking the lower day VWAP now, close enough to New York VWAP, what is the lower day VWAP break telling me? Sellers are back in. And it's telling me that the pullback is over. So sellers are back in. Pullback is probably over. We're going to go lower now. Right? So I can't just sit on the sidelines and be like, no, that's not good enough. Because what is it? 2-3 points away from New York on a day like this where it's so strong. But let's say you missed that one because of the reasons I just said, which is fine. This one, I'd say there's no excuse to miss it because now you're seeing this second break of a lower day VWAP. But this time you have lower highs into the entry. So now it's starting to turn to the downside again. That buyers try to pop us up here, but they got a little bit weaker. They created a lower high, and then sellers step in again, and then look how quickly it moves. So if you don't take the first one, I could agree with you a little bit, but if you don't take the second one, I do not agree with you. I think you need to be in that second one because there's nothing else. You wouldn't want to buy it today. This is still a great price. Now you have, if you remove these drawings, now you have these 2 structure points, right? So even if this did reject and start breaking this lower high here, you can reassess risk because now you're breaking structure points before it gets all the way up here. So now you kind of got 2 levels of defense. Or again, like I said, you could always put a stop loss above New York if you wanted that protection because you still thought it might want to retest to it and still hold and fall. So I think just no excuse to not be in some sort of short today, whether it was the earlier ones I took or these plays over here. I don't think I have a markup of it. I think it's in the TradeZella. But this thing just kept ripping and ripping. I think that was the best signal we had today, though, because if you just go to this notes markup, what a rip. Goes behind the camera and it finally fizzles out at like 2:45, 3 o'clock, and it was done. But this is just straight drop, the best pullback we get, and then look at all that move. After those markups we just went over. This is where I was telling you to sell it. So crazy amount of movement today. And again, that was our first and only healthy pullback up here in the middle. And then all of these small lower day breaks that I would normally say, nah, I don't love them. They just kept ripping and ripping. And I'm not saying they never do. Of course they do a lot. But majority of the time, when do they run out? When do they run out of steam and stop working out and give these bigger ones? So that's all. I'm just waiting for the bigger pullback off a key level. I'll catch the next leg of trend. So a super clean day. And it was funny if you go back to like, was it Tuesday or Wednesday? I guess Tuesday. Let's check. Yeah, Tuesday. Just open up this markup. Sideways. This is just sideways movement. Yes, it eventually fell, but it's 12 o'clock and it's just sideways, still inside the range, hasn't broken the initial balance yet. These are the type of days where it's just survive, right? You're not going to maximize and hammer down on the shorts, hammer down on the longs, win after win after win. Survive these days. Don't lose too much so that when it is Friday again, or whatever day of the week it ends up being, and it gives you these clean shorts, you're able to capitalize on them, maximize on them, and you're not just taking them to recover silly losses taken earlier in the week. You've been smart all week. You survived. You didn't lose too much on Tuesday, made a little bit on a Wednesday, and then when this Friday happens, you maximize it. Now you're even bigger green on the week rather than just recovering. That's the biggest thing, right? Because yes, I made 900 on this week, but if I was down 900 heading into this Friday, it would have been great to maximize on a Friday, but I would have just been making up losses. But since I kept my head on straight for the most part on Tuesday and Wednesday, it's just a cherry on top on the Friday of maximizing these clean trending days. So that was my nice clean Friday. I definitely could have traded more, but since I was already 2-0 on a Friday, done for the week, I'm up 900. I also don't want to be making too much on these Tradeify accounts. I made a video about that just recently of the 20% consistency. Made about 850, 900. That's about as comfortable as the biggest day I want for this current account, because the 50K account, looking to get it to 4K, take out a 2K payout. So like I said, if you want to use a Tradeify account, the straight to sim funded, code Dyer is going to get you 30% off. So definitely go check that out before you buy it, because that's going to be a huge, huge discount for any of these accounts that you choose to go with. But hopefully made money on Friday. Hopefully, if you didn't, you're motivated to want to find a way into market structure like that on a Friday. So like I said, I know I say it all the time, but truthfully, it's textbook setups right out of the course. Even my first one here, it's a bounce off New York VWAP, break of lower day VWAP, go continue the trend. It doesn't get much simpler, and I break it down, I think, pretty easily here in the course. I break it down into bite-sized chunks of these chapters, so you can just go watch the bounce one. It's 9 minutes, 9 minutes, and 14 minutes. Just go rewatch it and rewatch it and rewatch it. You'll get the hang of it. You'll understand it, and you'll be maximizing these days with no problem, and hopefully get you some payouts. All right, so hopefully you guys do enjoy this course, and once you go through that, come on, watch the live streams. I'll teach you these trades, and then you'll take them with me here on stream. We took these trades. Me and Austin took these, or I think I was the only one that did. On Friday, I took these on stream. So you're understanding why I'm taking the setups. You could also take them with me, and we both make money. So I appreciate you guys. Hope you guys had a great week and a great Friday as well. Trade safe. Let me know if you need me, but I'll see you guys on the charts tomorrow morning.